Krishna dear devotees, my humble obeisances to you all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily class. Today we are continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, chapter 2, and verse number 29. Hare Krishna, Maharaj, my humble obeisances to you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'll share my screen. Maharaj, you're on mute, Maharaj. Can you please unmute? Hare Krishna.
Vasudevaya Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sevago Dhanam Lakshmam Niketam Sikago Visam Charayan Anugam Rupan Radnad Venu Hari Ramat. While herding the very beautiful bulls, the Lord, who is the reservoir of all opulence and fortune, used to blow his flute, and thus he enlivened his faithful followers, the cowherd boys. Purport. As he grew to 6 and 7 years old, the Lord was given charge of looking after the cows and bulls in the grazing ground. He was the son of a well-to-do landowner who owned hundreds and thousands of cows. And according to Vedic economics, one is considered to be rich man by the strength of his store of grains and cows. With only these two things, cows and grains, humanity can solve its eating problem. Our human society needs only sufficient grains and sufficient cows to solve its economic problems. All other things, but these two are artificial necessities created by man to kill his valuable life at the human level and waste his time in things which are not needed. Lord Krishna, as the teacher of human society, personally showed by his acts that the mercantile community, or the Vaishyas, should herd cows and bulls and give protection to the valuable animals. According to Smriti regulation, the cow is the mother and the bull the father of human being. The cow is the mother because just as one sucks the breast of one's own mother, human society takes cow's milk. Similarly, the bull is the father of human society because the father earns for the children just as the bull tills the ground to produce food grains. Human society will kill its spirit of life by killing the father and the mother. It is mentioned here in the beautiful cows and bulls were of various checkered colors, red, black, green, yellow, ash, etc. And because of their colors and healthy smiling features, the atmosphere was enlivening. Over and above all, the Lord used to play his celebrated flute. The sound vibrated by the flute would give his friends such transcendental pleasures that they would forget all the talks of Brahmananda, which was so praised by the impersonalists. These cowherd boys, as will explained by Sukadeva Goswami, were living entities who had accumulated heaps of pious acts and thus were enjoying the Lord in person and were hearing his transcendental flute. The Brahma Samhita confirms this, the Lord blowing his transcendental Venan Quantam Radhavin Dalaya Tak Sambharavata Samasitam Buddha Sungarangam Kandarbhakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Sauham Govindam Hari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Brahmaji said, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who plays on his transcendental flute. His eyes are like lotus flowers. He is decorated with peacock plumes, and his ballard color resembles the fresh black cloud, although his bodily features are more beautiful than millions of cupids. These are the special features of the Lord. Umgyantimirandasya jana salakaya Chaksun militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasnaya Bhutale Shrimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Dear Visay Sarasuni Bhavatani Vastyatya De Satarani Vasaparu Vipa Sindhu Bebacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Aura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay? Come at 9. 9 o'clock. You can make it? Yeah. Okay. So here we're learning about what is actual life, what is desirable life, what is happiness that is connected with one's connection with Krishna. Krishna is the source of everything that's auspicious, and he is the source of transcendental happiness. Happiness is not found in the material world because people don't know what happiness is, and they mistaken it for simply the relief of suffering is considered to be happiness. Here's one story which kind of illustrates this. There was one king and his minister. His minister was named Gopal. The king would, he was a very qualified king, and he had Gopal as his assistant, servant. And Gopal used to make jokes sometimes because when you have a job of a king, you get too much involved with political affairs and you don't find time to really express yourself in a more natural environment with others, such as relaxing and laughing. So Gopal would always chide the king, and the king would like it. One time, the king said to Gopal, Gopal, what's the difference between you and an ass? And the king and Gopal took out a measuring stick and measured the difference between him and the king. And he said 6 feet. And the king liked that, so he laughed. So they would go on like this. So one time, the king, his wife, she just had a baby. And the king was like, over the moon. He was so happy. Now he had a child, a son. And so the next day he came to the palace and he was giving out gifts to everyone. His, they were all congratulating him. Now you have a wonderful son and heir to the throne soon. And the king was happy. So then he went to Gopal and he said, Gopal, my wife just had a baby. And I'm so happy. And Gopal said, yes, I'm so happy for you that I could pass stool. That's what he said to the king. I'm so happy I could pass stool. And the king looked at him like, what are you speaking like this? And he said, you nonsense. He wasn't appreciating that particular humor. So then the next day, the king and Gopal went on a trip. It was a hunting trip, and they were in a boat down the river, and Gopal was rowing the boat, and the king was in the boat. And at one point, the king said to Gopal, Gopal, I have to take care of nature, so pull the boat over to the side. So Gopal said, yes, just now coming. But he didn't. He just kept rowing. And then this went on for a little while, and the king again reminded him, Gopal, pull the boat over to the side. I have to take care of nature. Yes, king, but he just kept rowing. Finally, the king was getting on the verge of, it was becoming a problem. So he blurted out, Gopal, pull the boat over. So Gopal pulled the boat over. The king went into the woods and came out. And the king looked very refreshed and he was smiling. So Gopal said to him, how do you feel? He says, I feel very happy. So Prabhupada tells that story, how happiness is simply a relief from suffering in the material world. This is one example. And there are many examples how we counteract the suffering of this world by doing various things, and we get a relief from that suffering, and we think, oh, that's happiness. You're hungry, that's a problem. It can cause, stomach pains, malnutrition if you don't eat properly. So you eat and you counteract the pains of hunger, and you also get nourishment, and you're happy. So what are you doing? You're counteracting a bodily necessity that causes you pain. You're lusty. You want some excitement in life, and that lust is burning within your heart and in your mind. So you look for a way to fulfill that lusty desire. And then you do that and you think, I'm happy. But what did you do? You just counteracted some suffering. And the list goes on. So this is material life. Counteracting suffering is not happiness. It's just what it is, counteracting suffering. Happiness is a different experience. And here we're seeing what real happiness is. Simply by hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, all the boys in Vrindavan used to become so happy they'd start dancing and start singing, and then they start running towards Krishna. Their joy just hearing Krishna's flute, no one can imagine how wonderful, how beautiful, how enchanting, and how all pervading Krishna's flute is. When Krishna plays his flute, everything stops. The cows, they're chewing on the grass and they just stop and they stand there like statues. The birds, they're in the tree and they're stunned. They can't move. The river waters are flowing, but when they hear Krishna's flute, they stop in one place and they just swirl around in one area. And so then when the gopis hear Krishna's flute, they just go mad. They just run to the sound of that flute. Or sometimes they become so overwhelmed hearing Krishna's flute, they just lose consciousness. So we can't imagine what Krishna's flute is. That's the epitome of having real experience of happiness. So there are many other things, of course. Here, what is being explained is how Krishna enjoys being a Vaishya. His father has 900,000 cows. Can you imagine that? 900,000 cows. And so Krishna, when he was 5 or 6, as it says here, and he started taking charge, 6 or 7, it says, of the cows before he was in charge of the calves. So when he got a little older, he became qualified to take care of the cows. And then every day, Krishna would go for breakfast, and Radharani would cook breakfast for Krishna. She would come all the way from a place in Vrindavan called Yadvat. She would live in Yadvat. And she would be in trance just thinking that she's going to cook for Krishna. And sometimes she would be so much in trance, she'd get lost. But because she was with her gopi friends, they would make sure she didn't get lost. And she would wind up at the place where Krishna is, and Mother Yasoda was so happy because she knew my son, he gets the best food from Radharani. Therefore, he'll always be healthy and happy because Radharani, it says that Radharani was blessed by one great sage that everything she cooked would taste like nectar. Of course, she doesn't need that blessing, but that was just a pastime. So when she used to cook, my mother Yasoda was so happy, and she would arrange the kitchen, and Rohini, the mother of Balaram, would be there assisting Radharani to cooking, and Mother Yasoda also, and Krishna. Sometimes he would peek inside the kitchen to see what was going on, and then to make sure no one see him, he would hide if someone looked in his direction. He would watch Radharani cook. And then he would sit with his cowherd friends at breakfast, big table, and they would eat a huge breakfast because Krishna never ate lunch. He ate in the morning and then he ate in the evening. And lunch, there was no time for lunch. He would be playing with the cows all day. In the midday, he would be meeting Radharani, and they would go on swinging together in the trees with various types of swings, or they'd be splashing in the Jamuna doing water sports. And then when Krishna would come in back in the evening, he would again have a meal cooked by Mother Yasoda, and this time, and also Radharani was there. So Radharani would cook so nice. One time, Radharani wanted to make this really nice preparation. It was like a sweet, and so she put all her heart, time, energy, and love into making that sweet. And then they brought it out in a tray for Krishna, and it was so beautiful looking. And Krishna, he's seeing it, and they hand him a sweet, and then he knows Radharani made it. And she's watching to see how much he likes it because she doesn't want to miss that experience. So he takes a bite of the sweet and he makes a very sour face. And he takes the sweet and he hands it to one of his cowherd friends, like he didn't like it at all. Everyone's shocked. But then, when the cowherd boy ate the sweet, he said, "Wow, this is wonderful." So, why did Krishna do that? He wanted to share it with his friends. So, he acted like it wasn't so nice, but it was really, really flavorful. So, Krishna will do that just to share it with his friends. So, being with Krishna is a lot of fun. Being in this material world, we're always planning to have fun, but how are we having fun? We turn on the TV, we scroll our mobile phone looking for something to read or to do. Or what do we do? Um, yeah, we listen to the news and hear how bad things are going on in the world. We look for something and we go to see some movie where somebody gets killed and there's some crime. Or somebody steals somebody's wife and then he gets killed by the husband. So, these are the things that make people happy in this world. But it's not happiness. It's just, just filling the mind with something. Well, real happiness is to be with Krishna and to hear Krishna's flute, or to just serve Krishna by assisting him when he plays with his friends and the cowherd boys in the fields. So it's because after breakfast he goes out and he leaves all the residents behind. They're all watching him as he's going out to herd the cows. He's smiling, he's dancing, the cows are there, the calves also, and boys are there. They all get together and they start heading out to the pasturing grounds. And all the residents of Vrindavan are feeling so happy, I'm sorry, so unhappy that Krishna is leaving and we won't see him until later on today. But the gopis know that Krishna makes plans around noontime to meet Radharani. He tells one of his friends to connect with one of the gopis who is a messenger of Radharani. and they make a plan. So Radha and Krishna meet, and then they perform their pastimes, usually swinging in the trees or splashing in the brook, or just being together in the groves. So Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, and therefore he's inviting all of us to take part in his transcendental play. And that's in the spiritual world. We can get a taste of that now as we practice devotional service and hear about Krishna, also serve Krishna, and take part in kirtan. Kirtan is one of the most nicest experience, which raises our consciousness above the material energy and brings our consciousness to the transcendental platform where we forget about everything else. We're singing, we're dancing, and we're absorbed along with other devotees in the sound of Krishna's holy name, and we find such transcendental happiness. And then when we finish, what do? We take prasad. And then the experience becomes solidified in our heart and mind. It's like Lord Chaitanya, when he would perform kirtan in the evening every night, he would do kirtan all night, the whole night. They would start at sunset and at sunrise. When sunrise is just about to come, Lord Chaitanya would end the kirtan, and then he would go back to his room and he'd go to sleep for an hour or two, and then wake up and begin the day again. So yeah, Lord Chaitanya taught, that kirtan is transcendental happiness. Anandam Bhuri Vardhanam Patipatam Purnam Rita Swardhanam. It is unlimitedly joyful. Taking part, singing, dancing, taking prasadam, and associating with others, talking about Krishna and his wonderful activities, trying to understand those activities, and trying to qualify ourselves to become his associate. It says here that these cowherd boys had heaps of pious activities for so many lives, and that those pious activities, they were actually devotional activities. Sometimes we use the word pious, but they were engaged in devotional service for many lives, and then they qualified to associate with Krishna in the spiritual world eternally as cowherd boys. Same with the gopis. Many of them, there are different categories of gopis. There are 6 different types of gopis in different categories. And there are, more intimate gopis, and all of them have performed many, 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 many austerities, penances. The Rishichari gopis were actually sages in the Dandakaranya forest who used to worship Lord Ram. And they actually prayed to Ram, that in your next incarnation as Krishna, please allow us to serve you as gopis. And so they qualified themselves, and many of them took birth in the spiritual world as, not birth, but they appeared in the spiritual world as gopis to serve the Lord in the mood of Madhurya Ras. So, and Prabhupada gives some very practical things here. What is actual wealth? Wealth, this paper money that we collect, look at, put in the bank, and pay off all our debts. We're thinking this is actually wealth. But wealth is cows and land. Here it says grains. Grain, if someone had a sufficient amount of cows, then they could plow the fields with the bulls and grow crops, and all the food supplies would be automatically, given, taken care of. You wouldn't have any worry about food. There's fruits on the trees, there's grains that can be cultivated by the plowing of the fields, milk products, grains. If you have grains and milk, you can keep good health. And cows, they provide not only material benefits in the form of milk and plowing the fields, cultivating the fields, but they also use in worship. The cow is very sacred in the sense that we use cow dung, cow urine, milk yogurt and ghee to worship the deity. The cow provides all of these substances. It's called panchagavya. Symptoms, five substances that come from the cow. So the cow is auspicious. And if you have a cow and you treat her nicely, you give her everything she needs to be happy in her life, she'll take care of you. If you get sick, she'll go out into the fields. She'll look for that herb that cures that sickness you have, she knows. And then when you milk her, you take that milk, and that's the medicine you need for that disease. This cows are just God's special gift to the human culture. But we don't understand the beauty of a cow. We think cow is just something that we can eat or we can make some money from. And therefore, civilization is going to hell. And it's a fact. The killing of cows, the abuse of cows is causing heavy, bad karma upon the human society. People are suffering because of the killing of cows. It's the greatest sin. It says in the Shastras, if you kill a man, that's a big crime and you have to suffer. But if you kill a cow, it is worth killing two men. A cow's life is even more valuable than the human life, according to Shastra, because they can provide a whole atmosphere of nourishment and happiness for the human society. They're very magnanimous, and if you take care of them nicely, that's a requirement. Give them enough area that they can walk around and sleep, have enough grazing area. And don't stick them in the barn all year and then let them out for a few months. No, keep them in the fields. Make arrangements. If you have a cold country, then you have to make some adjustments. But still, the cow likes to be outside. Just like every year, when I go to Bhaktivedanta Manor in the month of April, I think it is, they let the cows out of the barn. It's a ceremony. And they let them out like in a line, and the cows are coming out and they're jumping. Their back legs are going up in the air and they're jumping and running, and then they're running against each other, and they're kind of like fighting and playing, and they're having so much fun. They love being outside in the fields. That's their life. So if you take care of cows very nicely, cows will take care of you, and Krishna will take care of you special, because cows are very dear to Krishna. All living entities are dear to Krishna, but cows especially, because they require protection by the human culture and not exploitation as we do it today. Therefore, because we don't know the value of cows, know how to use them properly, we use them as an economic adventure to make money or to satisfy the lusty desires of the unsatisfying tongue, to eat this food called meat. I don't know. Uh, Prabhupada tells about how when he was a young boy, he was very sick. He had some fever or something, and so one doctor came in and said, well, what he needs is chicken broth to cure make a soup out of chicken. So the doctor was insistent, so his parents made this chicken broth. They brought it to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, I just vomited when I smelled it. It was so bad. And so Prabhupada said, I never took any, animal product in my whole life. So yeah, some people sometimes say, well, you need that for health. But no, it's actually the other way. You don't need it for health. You can keep better health without eating, you know, cow flesh. But people like that and they think it's good. But the suffering is the result. And also disease comes also from eating meat. So therefore, Krishna has given us the formula how to live happily in this world and how to perfect our life in devotion and then ultimately achieve. Even though we ran away from Krishna, we came to this material world to enjoy separate from Krishna. We don't remember that first life when we hit the material world, which was the, what we call it, the greatest mistake, leaving Krishna in the spiritual world, trying to find happiness in this material world. And we've been there. Maya Labase, Kancho Bese, Kancho Bubu Dubai. Life after life after life in different species of life, sometimes in good species, sometimes in lower species, sometimes in hellish planets, sometimes in middle planets, just traversing the universe in different species of life. Now, when we come to the human form of life, here is the possibility of making a solution to this, what we say, revolving constantly in this cycle of birth, death, disease, and old age, birth, death, disease, and old age, birth, death, disease, and old age, constantly life after life after life after life. Actually, the Shastras say, before you get to a human form of life, you have to go through many millions of different species of life before you get that opportunity. So this material world is just a prison for the soul, but there's a way out. And the human form of life affords that parole from the from this cycle of suffering, and that is to take part in Krishna's pastimes by chanting, dancing, serving, taking nice foodstuffs offered to the Lord, worshiping the Lord in this transcendental form, and inspiring others to do the same. This is real culture. And depending on Krishna, not depending on, you know, big farm for all of the things we need. All of the medicine is there in nature. Where do the doctors get their medicine from? They extract these different things from nature. They add some of their own ingredients and they call it some kind of, they give it some stupid name. Or they call it this medicine or that medicine. But everything is coming from God. We don't need, we don't need doctors. All we need to know how to use herbs to somehow or other uh, apply them accordingly to the different types of diseases, both as a curative and as a preventative too. If you live nicely, you won't get sick. But the biggest cause of illness is the wrong lifestyle. That's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because people don't know how to live properly, they get sick. Anxiety is one of the causes of physical sicknesses. Uncleanliness, that's another one. Overeating. People want to find happiness, so they just eat. There's a group of people, they just eat, and then they vomit it out so they can again eat more. And they develop a disease called anorexia after a while where they can't, their stomach won't digest anymore. So people will do anything for happiness, but they don't know where to look for it. But we know where it is. It's here in Krishna. Krishna is the source. Prabhupada said, everyone is looking for happiness. Everyone is looking for Krishna, although they don't know it. But he represents that happiness everyone is looking for. So, but we are fortunate, those of us who come to Krishna consciousness, by the mercy of the pure devotee, who is the representative of the Supreme Lord, whose business is to show compassion to the fallen souls by giving us an opportunity to connect with Krishna through devotional service. And that's our good fortune. Come in contact with Krishna through the spiritual master is rare. It says in every birth, one gets a mother and a father. But in one birth, one gets the opportunity to go back home, back to Godhead. And that birth is special. It's a special birth where you actually can come in contact with your real mother and your real father. Krishna is your real mother. And nature is, Krishna is your real father, and nature is your real mother. And Radharani also represents our mother because she guides us towards Krishna through the process of devotional service. She is Bhakti Devi, She represents pure devotional service. So if we pray to Radharani and ask for her mercy, she's very kind. Prabhupada said on Janmashtami, we fast all the way up to midnight, but on Radhastami, we only fast a half a day. And Prabhupada said, yes, mother is more kinder than father. So she's very kind, and she will help us in getting the mercy of Krishna if we pray to Radharani for her mercy, like that. Okay, so here, this whole section, this whole chapter is all about Krishna and Vrindavan. It's tantalizing our taste buds so we can get eager to get to that 10th canto, and then hear in a more concentrated and a more continuous way of Krishna's pastimes in Sri Vrindavan Dham.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Such a wonderful class, nice pastimes, and reminding us about Krishna's love. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Dear devotees, any questions or comments or realizations, you can please go ahead. Please turn on your cameras if possible. We have 50 participants, devotees on the call today.
Soma Jatri, does she have her hand up? No?
Yeah, it was from previous Maharaj. Since the beginning, it was there. Dear devotees, I request you all to please turn on your cameras.
Yeah, there you go. Now things are starting to get bright on my side, making all of your effulgence is coming into my room. I'm getting blinded by it, but it's nice.
Yes. Sridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Okay, Sri Devi, she is the one to get us inspired in the question and answer period. Okay.
Oh, Guru Maharaj, I don't know about that. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to you, Guru Maharaj. I was thinking as you were speaking about how wonderful Krishna is and how kind he is in this age of Kali, that he gives himself in the form of the holy names. And you said transcendental happiness comes when we chant in Kirtan. But how many devotees don't show up for Kirtan? They come, they do services, and they run away just before the Kirtan begins. I don't know how you can escape the Kirtan and be happy. How is that even possible? I don't understand that.
Me neither. Today, today they had a special arrangement from 4 o'clock to, I'm sorry, from 11 o'clock to 4 o'clock. They cleared the entire temple, and all there was in the temple was kirtan, those who were leading kirtan for the festival. So there was about 15, 20 of us in the temple. And then there's a few security people too, because the home minister was about to come. So I stayed there I went to the temple at 10 o'clock and I stayed to about 3:30. So I was there for 5.5 hours doing kirtan. It was nice. And after I leave this program, now we'll have the grand finale of the final few hours of kirtan, which will end the kirtan mela this year. So then the temple tonight will be, people will be standing on each other's shoulder. It'll be like a sandwich program, but anyway. And so, but still, devotees love it. So Bhakti Siddhanta talks about that. Those who do kirtan will be able to understand this process of Krishna consciousness. Those who don't will not. So we should do kirtan regularly, even if you can't dance, you can at least, even in your home, you can turn on a kirtan. You can dance around the room, nobody will see you. And that way you won't, even if you can't dance, you won't feel so bad. So yeah, we can dance, we can sing, we should take opportunities for that.
So my concern is there are so many devotees who are not taking part in Kirtan, Guru Maharaj. They just, I mean, my heart just bleeds when I see them leave or get busy with other things, but they won't dance, they won't sing. I'm not saying everybody should jump up and down, but just hearing the holy name congregationally, I think the powerful effect of Kirtan really helps devotees get over so many, at least that's been my savior. I don't know about others, but I can honestly say, but for Kirtan, who knows where I would be today. So, because it's the Lord's desire
I
that
like,
everyone take,
yeah, when you do kirtan, you're always joyful. I noticed that. And you're always leading the
yes,
ladies, getting all the ladies to dance.
yes, Guru Maharaj, I want everyone to dance.
Me too. So there's one expression that the ultimate expression of happiness is dancing. It's not sex life, believe me. It's dancing. Sex life has so many problems attached to it. It doesn't last for long either.
I was just going to say the same thing.
But singing and dancing can go on for hours. Lord Chaitanya had one associate, his name was Vakreshwar Pandit. He danced for 72 hours straight. If we can dance for 72 minutes straight, that would be a great achievement. But sometimes we could get into the kirtan, and we're not so much inspired by the kirtan first person who's inspired. That's okay. Just listen and absorb yourself in the sound vibration. That's purifying. That's purifying. And then you get your favorite kirtan here, and then he plays that melody you love, and then all of a sudden you're bouncing up and down off the walls, on the ceiling, running around the room. So yeah. So yeah, I mean there's different experiences that people have in kirtan. But kirtan is Lord Chaitanya's gift for purifying the whole world. It's the Yuga Dharma. So kirtan is everything. Kalir doshani de rajan asti eko mahagunaha. Kirtana ever Krishna's mukta sangam vidam. But a better verse this is a powerful verse, but another verse is iti sodam sakam nam nam kali kama sanasanam nata parateo payo sarva vedishu drishyate Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. After searching through all the Vedic knowledge, all the scriptures, one cannot find a more direct, sublime, and easy process of self-realization in this age of Kali than the chanting of these 16 words, Iti Soda Shakam Nam Nam. What are those words? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. But we think, Prabhupada was talking, he was just saying, when I do devotional service, I don't get anything done. I can just do something else and I get something done. I can paint the walls, I can sweep the floor, I can wash the dishes, I can, go to the movies, I get something done. But when I chant dance, what do I get done? But there's a story, a nice story. One little boy, he sees his grandfather sitting underneath the tree, and the boy, the grandfather, he's chanting japa. So the boy comes up to his grandfather. He says, "Oh, Grandpa, I can see you're praying. What do you get for this praying? I don't see anything changing. You're always doing this praying all the time, but nothing's changing." And then the grandfather, he said, "Okay." And he picks up this basket, which was full of dust, and it was holding coal in it. So it was all dirty and it had holes in it. He said, "Here, take this basket and bring it down to the river and fill it with water." But the boy says, "It's full of holes." He said, "Never mind, just try to fill it with water and bring it back." So the boy runs to down to the river. He fills the basket up. He goes back, and when he gets back, all the water has already gone out of the holes. He said, "See, no." The grandfather says, "No, you do it again." So the second time he goes, he fills up the basket with water, and then he runs. And by the time he gets to the grandfather, there's no water in the basket. So the grandfather said, "That's all right, just do it again." So he goes the third time, fills it up, runs, he comes back, same thing, there's nothing. He said, "See, nothing happened." Yeah, he said, but his grandfather said, "Just look at the basket. Now the basket is nice and clean." And so what happens when you're chanting? You're cleaning your heart. Something is happening. You're getting rid of all of those things that cause you suffering in the material world.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. There is a follow-up on this by Daria Mataji. She is asking, do we get the same benefit doing kirtan or chanting japa by ourselves? And what is we don't naturally feel that joy during kirtan?
It doesn't matter how you feel. If you just do it, after a while, you'll feel it. Because of our covering of material energy, it's like the whole idea is, and it's explained in the Shastras, there's a disease called jaundice, which is a liver disease. It's an infection of the liver. But the cure for jaundice is sugarcane juice. Now, but when a jaundice patient takes the sugarcane juice, it tastes bitter. It's not sweet at all because of the disease. But continue to take the sugarcane and the cure is working. And after some time, you can see, oh, I'm getting healthy because the sweetness of the juice is coming. Same way, because of our conditioning in material life, we're taking the mercy of the holy name, but we're not tasting that sweetness. That's all right. Just keep going. It works. It works. In due course of time, if you have faith and you just continue to chant, associate with the devotees, then the purification is working. And gradually, because the soul is by nature ananda, and when the soul comes in contact with Krishna in the form of the holy name, it experiences unlimited happiness. But because of the coverings of the material energy, that happiness is not experienced. So, but what the holy name does, it's cutting through the coverings. So just be patient and keep chanting, and the disease of material life will be gone. Enechi asari mayo, nasi baralagi, harinama maha mantra, lao to me, magi. That disease is the disease of material life. I want to enjoy this material world. That's a disease.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Raj Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Guru Maharaj, in India, there are a lot of goshalas. Uh, they have a lot of cows, and they believe that cows are our mother. They serve them, but what they do is they abandon the bull, because bull doesn't give milk. So they just sell it to someone, or sometimes they just separate the mother and the baby bull, uh, and this is what they practice because their primary focus is to get milk and make the goshalas commercially viable. How do we deal with that, or what is the injunction of shastras on this?
Our understanding is that we're not trying to get anything from the cow, we're trying to serve the cow. And if you serve her nicer, she gives you everything anyway. It's your one cow is one of the 7 mothers. She is as good as your real mother because she provides nourishment in the form of milk, which is necessary for finer brain tissues, which helps us to understand higher knowledge. She also does so many things by tilling the field with her hooves, by walking. But the bull is also important. Bull is like the father. I think Prabhupada was saying something today. I can't remember what he was saying. He was mentioning the bull, how the bull provides, for the living entities in this material world. Yeah, the bull cultivates the field by plowing. Tractors and all these machines are just phenomena of modern civilization that just destroy the use of the bull. So we replace the bull with these mechanical things, and therefore we don't see any need for the bull.
Mm.
But the bull is also, he's father and cow is mother. Together, if you separate the father and the mother, then the mother is not happy. It takes the bull to impregnate the cow in order to have calves. So the bull is also necessary. So it takes some intelligence, it takes some arrangements to take care of cows. It's not so easy, especially in Kali Yuga. But if you have land, then you have a good start. When you cultivate that land, you grow grass and you grow hay and like that, and the bull also will be happy. And the bull can help you with your hard work. If you have to move something from one place to another, you don't have to hire, some kind of van for $19 a day. You can take the bull and hook it on the back of a wagon, and it'll carry whatever load you have from one place to another. We think that's primitive, but actually it's actually superior in a sense because everything we're trying to get that is provided by the cow and the bull, we have to work for somebody who doesn't even appreciate you. You have to work for some greedy merchant who gives you a paycheck, and you're just working like an ass for somebody, and you think, well, I got a job. You don't have a job, you're a slave. You're a slave. That's all you are. And you're a dog who comes to the door of somebody's house, and you bark at the door, and you're wagging your tail. Please give me some service. We're not meant to work for this for our everything. Everything is provided by nature. The work we have to do is just cultivate a lifestyle based on nature. Everything is there. Everything is there. And it's natural. And it provides happiness along with the products that you're looking for. Going to work, you have to buy a car, you have to pay for gasoline. Somebody steals your car or breaks down, you have to fix it. You're thinking, well, I have a nice car, I can go really fast, and then you crash, and then you're in a hospital. Look at modern civilization, it's full of calamities. Every year I go to the United States and they post these signs on the highway, how many people died in car accidents, and they keep a calculation every month. The numbers get big, and it's over 100,000 people every year who die from car accidents. And that's in the US. plus how many injuries, that's even greater than the deaths, you know. So we've created a civilization that's destroying us. We are, yeah. And we expect to find some kind of happiness in it. And as I say, in modern civilization, all you're doing is counteracting suffering. That's what you're doing. Even the food you buy in the stores are full of pesticides, herbicides, chemicals. You're getting sick by eating. Yeah, it's a fact. And we're thinking,
Maharaj,
oh, we're thinking we make advancement. Where's the advancement? Advancement to hell. That's all we're doing.
yes, Maharaj. Just wanted to add that here at IIT, there is a department which talks about energy and renewable energy, and they are teaching students about bull energy. That means generating energy from bulls by by making them walk or somehow. And there is a course on ecology today itself. It was discussing about that this meat eating, specifically the cow beef, leads to greenhouse emission, 14% of the total greenhouse gases in the world. So the
Yeah. It's
science is also accepting all these things nowadays, as soon as we are moving forward towards our towards a very bad climatic conditions.
yeah, we're destroying the environment, destroying ourselves, destroying nature. This is called advancement. Where's the advancement? Prabhupada, somebody said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada was talking about this. I mean, Prabhupada is, you listen to Prabhupada. I mean, he speaks about this very, extensively. He was saying, talking about how there is so many problems. And one devotee said, oh yes, Prabhupada, these problems have been going on from time immemorial. Prabhupada said, no, only the last 300 years with this modern technological society. It's not been going on from time immemorial.
Thank
And
you,
now
Maharaj.
India is chasing after the West and trying to imitate the West. So,
Yeah.
but still, India's culture is still alive because of Krishna consciousness. The Home Minister, which is the second highest position in the Indian government, he came to the temple today. They gave him a tour. Yeah, Home Minister. He is number 2. He's next to Modi. He came, and he came with his, entourage and all his security. They gave him a tour of the TOVP. I was in the temple. He came into the temple, took darshan. They gave him garlands, and he took darshan of all of the deities, including Prabhupada. He was very nice. He was smiling. He was offering pranams to everyone as he was walking. It was nice. So, I mean, he took time out of his busy schedule just to come and to Mayapur. So that was good. So, I mean, still there is spiritual life very strong in India in some places. In other places, they're still trying to figure out how they can imitate the West and outdo the West in the imitation also. I mean, material life is a struggle, even in ideal situations, but still, we don't have to be subjected to so much suffering just because we're trying to maintain our bodies. To live is easy, but to organize in this particular society is very difficult. But we can try. We should try like that.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Amritala Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, my question is about veganism. In today's time, when cows, even though they are kept properly, due to the effect of, even though they are kept properly, they are nurtured properly, due to the effect of Kali Yuga, they give us limited milk, and that milk is enough for their own calves to be consumed. And I've seen in many of the gaushalas that who are genuine gaushalas, they the calves itself consume all the milk. So basically, the milk is not left for outsiders.
You're talking about a less than ideal situation. Srimati, turn to Canto 1, Chapter 10, verse number 4. 110:4. What you're saying, Amritanam, is what is going on in today's taking care of cows, but they're not taking care of cows. This is taking care of cows. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira, the clouds showered all water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bags and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. And then Prabhupada goes on, the basic principle of economic development is centered on lands and cows. The necessity of human lives are food grains, food, milk, minerals, clothing, wood. One requires all these items to fulfill the material needs of the body. Certainly one does not require flesh, fish, and iron tools and machinery. And then he goes on, it's a very long purport. It's one of the most powerful purports on self-sufficiency. But what the point is that here, the cows were happy. When the cows are happy, they give profuse amount of milk. Yeah. If you abuse the cow, you try to squeeze out as much milk as you can in artificial ways, the cow's not happy. And the milk you're getting is not quality milk anyway. It's filled with the anxiety of the cow, which comes in the form of a poisonous hormone that the cow secretes into the milk, and people justify veganism by saying that milk is unhealthy. Yes, for those who abuse the cow pays you back. She gives you milk that's not healthy. But those who take care of the cows give the cows everything they need, just like cow is your mother. You take care of your mother and she'll give you everything you need and more. Even if you don't take care of her, she might get angry at you and slap you. But the point is, you have to take care of the cows. We're not here to get something from the cows. We're here to serve the cows. That's the point. As we serve Krishna, we serve his living entities too. So the highest form of service is to serve those in relationship to Krishna. Those who serve the cows are serving on the highest platform. Because cows are really dear to Krishna. He's called Gopal. He's called Govinda. His planet is called Goloka. So you have to understand the special position of the cow. And if you take, but she requires care. And if you don't give it, you'll suffer. And if you give it, the abundance will be more than you can even consume. Here it says, grains and vegetables can sumptuously feed a man and the fatty cow delivers enough milk to supply a man sumptuously with vigor and vitality. Yeah, so so this is an example. It says here the cow had a cheerful attitude. When cows are happy, you can see it. If you go to Govardhan Echo Village, they keep cows really nice. And you can see the cows are really happy there. You notice it. And they show their happiness by when you go there, they're very affectionate towards others. Cows are by nature very affectionate. But if you mistreat them or don't treat them properly, then you'll find they will not be happy and they'll not give you what you actually are looking for. And sometimes they get angry and they run away or they get angry at you. Yeah, because they're not happy. You have to make them happy. They don't require much. They require a place where they can lay down, some nice grass, and letting them down in the pastures, let them roam around and experience their cow-like nature. They don't require much, but people don't want that. They want to squeeze them and try to get as much milk as them. And after 5 years, the cow can't give any more milk because they destroyed the whole cow system by trying to pump as much milk as they can. So you can't use that as an example. It's not the example. Here's the example.
The point, Guru Maharaj, is to serve the cows, and we don't need to concentrate on milk because milk will be the byproduct given by the Lord.
He'll give it to you automatically.
Yeah.
I mean, we had cows in New Vrindavan. There was one cow that was giving 120 liters a day. 2 milkings, 120 liters a day. We had so much milk, we were drowning in milk in New Vrindavan. And not only milk, but it was so creamy. I mean, the cream was just as thick as the milk was. Nowadays, they immediately take the cream off the milk and they sell that separately or use it separately, and then they give you milk without cream. It's not the same.
So, Guru Maharaj, in the given scenario, where you mentioned one is the ideal condition and how we should do it. But in the current practical scenario, it's not happening like that. So, should we adopt veganism or
If you go,
not?
you've been to Gita, you've been to Govardhan Village, you know, it's happening. There are other places too. In Gita Nagari, the cows are happy and they're giving a lot of milk. Many places. And there's devotees who have started their own little farm projects now. So it's going on. If you do some investigation, you'll find there's a lot of little places where devotees have got together and started their own farm project. It's happening because people are waking up. They're seeing how this civilization is going to hell. And they're reading Prabhupada's books and they're understanding Prabhupada's vision for natural living. It's not that everybody has to be a farmer, but everyone can live in a simple environment. That's the point.
Hmm. Got it, Guru Maharaj. Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Yeah, thank you.
Cow
So we
also provides methane gas. You take cow dung and you get a machine, there's a machine, and you can make gas from that, and that gas can heat your home. You don't have to get, you know, you don't have to heat your home artificially. And people heat their homes with wood. Wood is natural. You don't have to pay for gas. And it's also a little, you have to work hard. And the bad gas prices are going sky high nowadays. I mean, what the secular society is giving us is just an abrogated or perverted version of what nature is giving us in its natural way.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Prasiddha Chaitanya Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances in your lotus feet. All glories to you and Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I was realizing that uh, how dear cows are for Lord Krishna, and that is why his name is Govind, and his dham name is Gokul or Golok Dham. But and when we read Prabhupada, every time Prabhupada says our Vedic culture is all depend on the cows, and if we actually start caring of cows, the whole things will be scenario will be changed. And in a current scenario, if you see, countries are enemies to each other and they are fighting to each other, and they want to rule on each other. They forget the basics, and that is why the things are miserable. So that was my realization, Guru Maharaj. And one thing I want to ask that what is the difference between the Kamdhenu and Surbi? Because Surbi is one type of cows, a type of cows who lives in Golok Dham, and Kamdhenu, one pastime fight between the Vasisht Muni uh, and Vishwamitra. There was one discussion of Kamdhenu. What's
Yeah,
used for cow?
Surabi cow, they can provide everything, not just milk, but they're in the spiritual world, not here. The most beneficial cow, there's different breeds of cow in the material world. The cows with the big hump on their back, they're called gear cows. They provide milk which has A2, what's it called? A2 something.
A2 protein, Maharaj?
A2 nutrient. I don't know. It's a type of milk that's called A2, and that's the most healthiest milk. But you're talking about cows in the spiritual world, so they're different. Amandano, Surabi. You can go to them and you can ask for anything and they'll give you whatever you want. They're not limited to milk. That's a spiritual cow. Okay, I have to depart.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, we are also almost at the end of the hour. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to quickly announce tomorrow's class. Tomorrow's class is with ISKCON Harrisburg devotees, and the verses are Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, verses 6th chapter, 98 to 99. And you can cover more than those verses too, Guru Maharaj. Anasuya Mataji informed me.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow night for
At the same time.
Anyway, this whole chapter, if you feel inspired, read this chapter here, the one we're in. It's just one pastime after another of Krishna's Leelas, preparing us, getting us a little, what they call a tantalizer for getting ready for the 10th canto.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. We are almost at the end of the chapter. This week we'll finish this chapter in Bhagavatam. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
And
you
we'll
so
see
much,
you
Maharaj. Thank you so
tomorrow.
much. Dear devotees, see you all tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you
Hare
so much.
Thank you very much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Guru Maharaj.
Thank you.